Look, the story's great, but I'm tired of
I'm
seeing
a little Sister Jean down.
You're a little Sister Jean
I'm a little Sister Jean down.
She seems like a very nice
but
woman.
it's like enough already.
Listen, I told you I stopped watching fucking college basketball.
After Arizona went out?
Arizona lost, man. I didn't even know they was.
You missed a great game between Kansas and Duke. You missed a high-level college basketball game.
Also, can we talk about?
Listen, I didn't watch JV when I was on JV.
We know.
When I was in college.
Oh, wow.
I damn sure wasn't.
a hot take.
I damn it wasn't gonna watch JV when I was a pro.
You don't do some scouting?
No, I'm not scouting behind.
Because there's a bunch of pros in that game.
I'm scouting the guys that's in front of me. I don't care about who was coming into the league. I'm caring about the all-stars I'm chasing.
Is that Gil's eloquent way of saying I'm not watching?
I'm not watching it. Yeah. I didn't know how to. I was trying to make it seem
That
like
was a very eloquent.
better than. No, I'm
The most eloquent way of saying I'm not watching that trash.
Yeah. Welcome back to Out of Bounds. I'm Pierce Simpson. We hope you had a good weekend. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the Warriors are in trouble. Markelle Fultz returning back to the lineup. But before we get started on today's episode, I want to introduce you to my usual guests in the building. We got Complex Sports editor, Mr. Adam Caparel. Adam, I hope you keep that same energy for Sister Jean throughout the entire episode that you did in the cold open.
We'll see. We'll see if the hot takes keep coming.
Gil, I got money on Sister Jean if they ever decide to slap box. But again, next Adam
I
Caparel.
got my money on.
You got it on Cap? 3-time.
He just looks like he doesn't care nothing about chivalry.
He just goes.
Yeah, I'm just gonna knock Sister Jean out.
Sister Jean is going to whoop his ass. Sister Jean got them hands. I know it. I can tell. I can tell Sister Jean got them hands. I read a stat that Sister Jean was born before the NFL started. So that's a feat in itself. Shout out to Sister Jean. It was on Twitter, so I don't know if that's,
You
that's
don't know if it's
verifiable or
correct,
not.
right?
But hey, listen. But aside from collegiate basketball, because that seems what we all talk about this time of the year, the NBA is continuing to deal with an absurd amount of injuries, and the top team in the NBA, if you still think the Warriors are the top team in the NBA, are suffering from a lot of injuries. And over the weekend, Stephen Curry suffered a grade 2 MCL sprain when JaVale McGee fell into his leg. It was a very freak accident. Steve Kerr is already talking about Stephen Curry being out for an extended period of time. His quote to the media yesterday was, "There's no way he's playing in the first round. There's no way. I mean, he'll be reevaluated in 3 weeks. So yeah, we have to be ready to play without him and see how he's coming along." Curry won't be reevaluated until April 14th, 3 days after the season finale in Utah. So far, the Dubs have been out without Kevin Durant, who's out with rib injury, Klay Thompson, who broke his thumb on his shooting hand, and Draymond Green are all out with injuries. Like you mentioned last week, it's Swaggy P's team. How worried or optimistic should opponents be for the Warriors' injury woes, and how concerned should the Warriors themselves be about injuries?
I mean, the Warriors got to be concerned because it's their star players.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's their actual
It's
stars.
legit all four.
So I'm not really worried about Draymond Green because we don't really know what his injury is. You know, he might just be using this for, a break, but, we know Steph is really injured.
Yeah.
We know Klay broke his thumb, so that's a real injury. Kevin Durant, with the ribs, I think it was a fracture.
It's a little contusion.
The cartilage?
Yeah, fracture, yeah.
The cartilage? I mean, who knows, but depending on what side it's on.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you're going to go into the playoffs with at least 2 of your stars.
Hopefully. But the thing is with the Warriors' injuries, they're very specific, right? And they can linger. Stephen Curry with a knee injury. I believe he suffered a grade 1 sprain a couple years ago in 2016 when he was coming back, slipped on a wet spot in Houston. Clay's dealing with a broken fractured thumb on his shooting hand. There's no telling how long that can linger. So, Cap, is this something that can open the door for the Rockets making the NBA Finals?
I mean, the Warriors should be concerned. They do have experience dealing with these injuries, especially come playoff time. You just mentioned the Steph Curry example, and obviously KD last year with the knee, that was down the stretch, and he didn't really kind of get back into the fold, I think, to the final week of the season.
Yeah.
Didn't really affect them that much. So they have the experience of overcoming these injuries. But there should be massive concern because you're definitely not having Steph for the first round, and depending on how the matchups work and how the jostling with the NBA, with the Western Conference stands, I should say, happens every single day. It's like their matchup in the first round could be very problematic. And if they somehow get matched up with the Thunder in the first round and you have no Steph, then that is a serious
problem.
concern.
True.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to see this. You don't want to see OKC nor Spurs if you're Golden State limping blood into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like right now, you're leaking, and everyone sees it.
But,
it's not one of those things where you can recover and say, okay, we're just going to turn it on in the playoffs. Like, you're talking about a thumb injury on your shooting hand, rib. Like we're in the playoffs. There's anything goes.
You're saying they're hitting that hand?
Anything goes. Every time someone fouls, I guarantee you he's going to get fouled on that right hand. Yeah. He's going to get elbowed in that rim.
Physicality in the players match it up.
That's what I'm saying. But as a player, if I know I can keep you sidelined, every time I fire, I'm gonna hit that thumb.
Of course.
I mean, right now the Warriors would play the Wolves in the first round. Mm-hmm. They could probably handle the Wolves with missing one or two guys, maybe you would think. But Blazers Spurs could be lurking in the second round. And that could be, if Kawhi's back for the Spurs, especially in the way the Blazers have been playing down the stretch, that could be a bear of a matchup. But again, it's like the jostling of all this. The Thunder only have a 14% chance of facing the Warriors in the first round. Yeah. But if that happened, remember, Warriors are only 1-2 against the Thunder this year. And they have one more game before the regular season ends up, and they could be 1-3 against the Thunder. So it's like that would be a nightmare scenario if that happened in the first round.
Okay, see, I mean, right now it's chess, right? Golden State can't move anywhere.
No.
They can't. They're stuck.
They have to watch everything else play.
That is it. They're stuck at 2, so it's not like they can tank any games to try to move out of somebody's way. So when you start looking at the matchups, OKC, you have the perfect opponent right now, New Orleans, right? Just you got one star over there. That's who everyone wants: New Orleans, Utah, or the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round because they're the easier out of group.
Here's the thing about Utah, though, and it's very specific. That's a team that interested me the most because since the All-Star break, they're one of the best defensive teams.
Sounds amazing.
Best defensive team.
That sounds
to be so young. But Donovan Mitchell's going off right now, easily the Rookie of the Year right now, in my opinion.
Why are you dismissing them defensively?
Because they're a young team going into the playoffs against hungry vets. That young shit does not work in the playoffs. That young shit does not work in the playoffs.
Are we sure Golden State is still hungry? Because
But that's what I'm saying. Golden State will blow past Minnesota, Utah, and New Orleans. Their only two problems in the first round will be OKC and Spurs. You do not want to play a veteran team or a team with 3 mega stars also while you're coming back from injury. Like if it's Golden State and they got the Golden State swag, there's no problem, but you won't have your Golden State swag in your first round because Klay hasn't played, Steph hasn't really played, Draymond hasn't played, and these guys are going to test their game. I mean, they'll fuck around, go down 0-2, against the OKC and the Spurs, and they got to fight back, and that's not what you want.
So you're saying it's very difficult to try and recalibrate your game or come back from injuries whenever you're in the playoffs?
Yes, like if you have to come back at least 3 or 4 games to get a little swagger. You don't want your swagger to come in the playoffs. Like, this is my first game in fucking 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Nah, we already know how that looks.
But Steve Kerr seems to have some type of hope that there is a silver lining for Curry's injury because KD went through a similar thing last season. The Golden State Warriors still won the NBA Finals. He's quoted as saying, the good thing is we've been through this. We went through it last year with KD. It wasn't exactly the same timeline, but it was a similar injury and similar circumstances where he had to play without one of our best players.
That's irrelevant.
What do you mean by that?
Because you was without KD, but you had your
other 3.
You had the rest of your team still that played without KD for 2 years. All your guys are injured
everybody.
now. 4 out of your 5 is injured. This is a different outlook going into the playoffs.
Also, that bench for the Warriors, we've said a few times here, not as strong and not as dynamic as it used to be.
What happened 2000 out of the 2000 was it 15, 16 team? No, that bench squad was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean this bench is okay. They're not great. But 4 of your starters is out, not 1.
But if you look at the 2 bench players that were supposed to be the linchpins to lead that group, Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston, they both played very subpar this season, like you said. So the bench has really taken.
They're older. They're getting older. It's just one of those things that happens.
Does this open the door for Cleveland potentially? Because you have Boston that's dealing with their injuries. Kyrie will be reevaluated in 3 to 6 weeks. LeBron's playing at an epic level. They're kind of starting to figure things out. Open the door for them.
Even if you're Cleveland, you don't want to face the Warriors. Nor OKC.
How the hell are they going to stop the Rockets?
You have 1 star. Like, people don't understand that. Like,
have you seen Cleveland defensively?
Oh, it's atrocious.
In the playoffs, it's different. Playoffs is different. You have one.
Get that,
like that's what I'm saying. When it comes to playoffs and like matchups, you have James Harden, who's the super god on that team. If they can somehow contain the super god, there's no one else that can carry that team 30, 40 a night to win a series.
Yeah.
You can't contain LeBron. I don't give a fuck who you think you have on your team. You're not going to contain him.
Agreed.
Even if you contain him, his second option, which is him, is still 27. So the fact that he can stop you, but you can't stop him, he's fine with it.
But who's going to contain Harden?
You can throw the whole team at that team. You got to remember, his style is not like a Joe Johnson, which we thought Joe Johnson had the best 2-guard plays in the NBA. The plays, it was like back. I mean, this is just one-on-one basketball at the top of the key while 4 guys are spread out. It's easier to contain James in his element than it is anybody else coming off down screens, coming off pick and rolls and all this stuff.
All right.
There's a team in the Eastern Conference that's making a push for the playoffs. This is Philadelphia 76ers. But one of their key members that they thought would be on the roster and playing significant minutes before the season is Markelle Fultz. But, of course, he's been dealing with the shoulder injury. And Coach Brett Brown seems to be putting all the cards in his hand to make a return to the lineup. He is quoted as saying, "I think he's quite close. I think if we all watch the video, we'd probably agree with that." Markelle Fultz played 4 games in October, going 9 for 27 from the field, and didn't attempt a three-pointer. Then they shut down the 19-year-old with they called soreness and a scapular muscle imbalance in his right shoulder. There was a ton of speculation of what was happening. We saw his jump shot on Twitter and social media looking atrocious, but now it's starting to come back into form. It's starting to look good. It's it's looking better. It's looking better than that hit.
It's a lot better than what it was months ago.
So they saying we can tell by the video. A video of
now Brett Brown, he continued to quote, he comes from the Greg Popovich School of Coaching tree, so this could be some pop in him. He's quoted as saying, "It's just something that when Markelle Fultz feel like he can go, he really feels good about himself and his health. The shoulder, everything, and the medical people support that. He knows that he has a coaching staff and a team that will welcome him when he says go. He also understands the season is around the corner in terms of the end of the regular season. That's where it's at." So like I mentioned before, he's putting everything in Markelle Fultz's court to let him come back whenever he's ready to go. Gil, what do you make of that?
I'm trying to figure out what are they going off to show that he's back? Has he been practicing with the team?
I believe so. Yeah.
Like he's actually been practicing with the team.
Yeah.
You know they declared his shoulder issue resolved back in December?
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's,
But they
December 9th actually.
December
they
9th.
resolved.
But we've seen that jump shot.
Agreed.
Like
the shoulder resolved, not the jump shot.
Like you shouldn't be putting pressure on the guy. Like his shoulder's not where it's supposed to be. So just shut up.
Yeah.
Let's stop fooling. Like I don't know if you're doing it for the season ticket holders. I don't know if you're doing it to at least get all your hogs in for the playoffs. But to say he's ready, haven't you seen the videos? Like the videos of what? Y'all going through half-ass practices, no contact. Like, what do you want me to judge him off of?
And here's where the conflict of interest is, because Brian Colangelo, who's running the head of basketball operations, the team executive for the Philadelphia 76ers, said that Fultz's jump shot couldn't extend more than 15 feet, maybe a month and a half ago. So what is it? Is he ready? Is he not ready? You're just putting a lot of pressure on a 19-year-old.
The man is not ready, and he has no reason.
He's a teenager.
He has no reason to come back. Like, this is...
Why would the Sixers want him to come back right now?
Because they have no shooting, and they want... Was that you being surprised that they have no shooting?
So you want someone
who has
suspect
not,
jump shot.
who has not shot all fucking season long.
Listen, I'm just giving you what I'm trying to
extend the floor on that whack-ass jump shot.
Don't get mad at me. I'm just trying to piece together what he's thinking about.
Like, are you serious?
Because if you look at the...
We've seen Alonzo Ball struggle from the three-point line this whole fucking season
1,000%.
with his normal jump shot. You're telling me that they think Superman is coming to help them shoot the ball, and he has not shot a jumper since October?
Okay, but let's look...
In the actual game?
But let's look at everything.
And I don't even think he took a three then.
He hasn't taken a three now.
No, but let's look at things from a macro perspective, right? Let's say Markelle Fultz returns to the form that we projected him to be before the 2017 NBA draft. He was selected number 1 overall. Philly gave up assets to move up from 3 to 1 to take him. When he gets into the fold with Ben Simmons, with Joel Embiid, how special can Philadelphia become?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, without him, they're special.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
He can be subpar and they're still special. I mean, he can be non-existent and they're still special. I mean, if he becomes this scorer that everyone thinks he will be, I mean, how are they going to afford this team? That's how I look at it.
Someone has to go at some point.
That's what I'm saying. How are they going to afford this team? I mean, but at the end of the day, with him coming back being a natural scorer, he will thrive. He will thrive because you have a pass first 6'10" guy, and you have
who also can't shoot.
You have a big man who's going to demand doubles.
Yeah.
So with those two guys on the floor, you have a free reign to just score buckets.
Yeah. Philly has the pieces in place with J.J. Redick, Robert Covington filling the wings. They're just missing that guy, that guy that can go get buckets. That's like a C.J. McCollum, like a Dame Lillard, and I think Markelle Fultz is that
he should
guy.
be, but not this year. Not this year. Yeah. He's not ready this year. He won't have no impact on a game the series. There's nothing. He's a rookie who has not went through any rookie mistakes or games, and you're gonna allow that on the court?
Yeah.
No.
And I'm sure this will be a conversation for another day, but the growing narrative that coaches and teams will place, there's like factions, right? You have the team and their medical personnel, and you have the players. And I don't like where this trend is going, where players are seeking second opinion.
But it's always been
not trusting the organization.
It's always been like that. You get injured, the team, because you got to remember the team doesn't have your best interest. They have their best interest, so they're going to misdiagnose you anyway. You know, they're going to say if it's 10 to 12 weeks, they're going to tell you 6 to 8 weeks, because if they say 10 to 12. You're gonna sit out 10 to 12. Yeah. If they 6 to 8, if you're feeling 80%, and they're like, oh, you feel good, right? Yeah, I feel good. And you're just sitting there swollen, but because the juices is in, and you're about to play Cleveland on TV, you're gonna go out there. Yeah. And that's what the team does, and that's why you get second opinion.
Over the past 18 months, look at some of the star players that have been dealing with misdiagnosis. Kyrie Irving, John Wall, Kawhi Leonard, Isaiah Thomas. You see it time
all
and
of
time
them.
Again. All of them.
all.
Yeah.
all. The team is never going to give you an actual good reading on anything. They're going to misdiagnose them players every single time.
Sound about right?
How petty can Jeff Fisher be because the former Titans head coach refused to respond to a letter written by his former QB, Vince Young, because Young, of all things, misspelled Fisher's last name. So, to give you background on this story, Young had previously told the NFL Network that he sent an apology letter to Fisher in 2013 because he was, quote, immature and not paying attention and not listening, and taking my frustration out on a lot of people wasn't the right thing to do, unquote. Jeff Fisher over the weekend was asked about this on the website, paulkowarski.com, and this is what Fisher had to say. Fisher, quote, yes, I got the letter from Vince, and I didn't respond. My name was spelled wrong on the letter. The letter came from the University of Texas, and I had no way of knowing if it was really from him. It came from the athletic department, but my name was spelled incorrectly. I still have it, but I didn't know if it was from him, so I felt no need to respond. I thought if it was from him, he would have spelled my name right.
That is high-level shade.
1,000%.
And petty on a really high level, because that was his college coach?
That was his professional coach for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, wasn't this because the rumor around Vince was he wasn't very intelligent as a quarterback. Yeah. And I think this is like undercarding shade that, he couldn't even spell my name right? Like, it's like one of those things.
Well, to give you further background, in a Sports Illustrated interview last year, Young painted a picture of Fisher being a very petty guy and also kind of an asshole to him. Vince said that Fisher was an inept liar, and that Fisher never responded to the letter, adding that I guess he doesn't give two shits about me. So there was a lot of back and forth, a lot of issues with the two of them when they were together in Tennessee. There's one story about Vince saying that he was going to be late for a team plane for 2 minutes, and Fisher, who had held the plane previously for other guys, said, fuck it, take off, and they left Vince on the tarmac.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be your star quarterback, your franchise quarterback that you picked third overall in the draft in 2016.
Yeah, these two have a very unique history and a strange history. It didn't start off well because the late former Titans owner Bud Adams, I believe his name is Bud Adams, wanted to take Vince Young. Jeff Fisher did not want to take Vince Young. So already at that point in time, during the 2006
that wasn't his
draft,
quarterback.
that wasn't his quarterback. So there's already animosity. Then you had the situation where Vince Young throws his shoulder pads into the stands. There was reports of him having a gun, leaving the facility. There was all of these different types of things. And then Jeff Fisher has this quote where he says, I still have the letter. So if you
exactly, yeah.
If you didn't care that much, why would you still have the letter?
Yeah.
And Jeff Fisher sits on his high horse and thinks he's this great coach and he does these amazing things. One, you need to thank the late Steve McNair and Eddie George for helping your career be successful in Tennessee, because when you left the Rams, Jared Goff got exponentially better. They made the playoffs. The defense got better. The other quarterback you had in LA when you were there, Case Keenum, he went to Minnesota and got better and got paid in Denver. So it might be you, Jeff Fisher. You need to just
the problem with coaches that has big egos, it actually kills your team.
Yep.
Because a player with a big ego, he can get policed by the rest of the group, by his teammates.
Yeah.
I mean, one ego versus 13 or 50 players, you're not the top dog. Well, a coach with a big ego, he is the top dog. Mm-hmm. His coaching staff is not going to police or tell him to do anything. So what happens when this player, this coach has all the power and he thinks he's God? Now he starts doing little things that irritates everybody else. So if he doesn't like you, hey, let the plane go off.
Yeah.
Well, the rest of the players see that shit. Like, yo, damn, he's just going to leave our quarterback like that? So it starts having this bridge and, you start fucking up locker rooms like that, and players despise coaches like that.
So I'm glad you made that point. Whenever you hear reports of there being division in the locker room or locker room issues, does a majority of that stem from poor coaching?
It's coaching. It's the coaching staff and the players are not on the same page. So that's what I said. When it comes to players police each other because you always have an alpha dog in there that polices everyone or the veteran that everyone looks up to. But when the coaching staff is fucking with different players, like you got to remember we're family. The coaching staff, you guys sit in one room, talk about us. We sit in our room, talk about y'all. But but it's one of those things. So if there's a coach in there who's basically has the authority, and he's sitting there just fucking with players, it kind of fucks the locker room up. Because now you start putting players against each other, and you start manipulating the locker room, and that's where those divisions start to come in.
So when you have a shitty head coach with a shitty ego like Jeff Fisher, that's when you have more player-only meetings. That's
where player-only meetings come from, and you're trying to get everybody back on the same page. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's like, all right, I'm just gonna sit you the fuck down.
Yeah.
What the Patriots did in the Super Bowl.
Oh, Benjamin Malcolm Butler.
With Malcolm Butler?
Little stuff like that. Yeah. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Like your ego's that big.
Yeah.
Your ego's
but at least Bill Belichick has Super Bowl.
But it doesn't matter.
Like Jeff Fisher went to a Super Bowl and he didn't win.
But it doesn't matter if a coach will put his ego before the team's success. Then why is that okay? But as soon as a player puts his stats over a team's success,
preach.
He's a bad locker room guy.
Preach.
It's one of those things. It's like these coaches, like you're a great coach. A great coach is only a great coach because players are making him better. Yeah. You got to remember, if I come in with this playbook and a great player is using this, he's adding to this playbook. He's making me a better coach.
You show me a great coach, I show you an even better player.
That's what I'm saying. He's making, like that's what I said, Pop. He makes those players better. Those players make him better as a coach. Now he gets to see something that he didn't know a player can do. So now he gives a little more room, and that's as a coach, that's what you have to do.
After the unjust killing of Stephon Clark in Sacramento, California at the hands of Sacramento police, there's been a variety of different reactions across the United States and worldwide, one of which there was a protest outside the Golden One Center prior to a Sacramento Kings home game, which caused a delay in action. Matt Barnes, a former Sacramento Kings player and Sacramento native, took things into his own hands and offered to pay for the funeral arrangement of Stephon Clark, as well as DeMarcus Cousins, who offered to pay for the funeral services as well. So with everything going on, we got Matt Barnes to join us to talk about the things he's doing to help bring light to the situation. This is Face to Face. Matt, when you heard about the news of Stephon Clark's death at the hands of Sacramento police, what was your thinking and how did you want to get involved?
Frustrated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is something that's been happening around the country. When it takes place in your own backyard, it's a different experience. And, as soon as I heard it, I posted something and then, just had anyone who knew the kid reach out to me and man, people filled my DMs and comments and phone calls started coming through. So I was able to contact the whole family, talk to the mom, the brother, and the grandmother.
Of course. You mentioned being from Sacramento. Your former teammate DeMarcus Cousins also offered to pay for the funeral of Stephon Clark. What about the community in Sacramento has you two so closely tied there? What makes it special?
I just think the community needs help. The street politics out there are really hot right now with all the gang shit. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for all of us to look past that and realize there's a bigger platform right here and something that needed to be done. So, I hadn't even talked to DeMarcus when I heard about it. He offered, I offered, I know Chris Webber offered. I think a lot of people have offered. But like I said, we're here to help, and that's what we plan on doing.
Of course.
Matt, what'd you make of Vivek Reddy's comments the other night where, he took the time at the end of the game with the team to address the community as a whole? That's something we kind of really haven't seen from an NBA owner before. So, your perspective being a former Kings player, NBA player, what'd you make of that strong showing from the owner?
I think it's big because obviously this is bigger than sports. This is life. This is, these are our sons and daughters, brothers, fathers being killed. And obviously that's bigger than sports. And, anytime someone on that level, takes the time to address something, it's really going to be heard worldwide. And I think it was a great opportunity, and he did a great job, not only representing the Kings, but the city of Sacramento.
See, I think personally, I was telling them I guess we call it our green room, that because police officers are just employees of the state, just like a firefighter, right? And the firefighter is supposed to help, their community, help save lives. If a firefighter is on the opposite side, meaning he's the one setting fires, he goes down for arson, right? But for some reason, when it comes to cops shooting unarmed people, there's no real penalty. It's justified. Like, instead of saying, okay, well, he had nothing that was dangerous to you as a person, that's considered murder. He was unarmed, he had a cell phone, that's murder. Manslaughter. You should be getting some time. There shouldn't be no trial. There shouldn't be none of that. But when it comes to NBA franchises, NFL franchises, you guys have the money to actually go to the state, the city, to make a difference. Doing a speech at halftime or after the game is all bravo, bravo. But until you go down to the police station or the city hall, and really use who you are to make change, I never believe shit they be saying. That's just personally.
I think it's great, and that's kind of a layered question. But first and foremost, it's crazy because these people are killing people and getting paid leave. So you're trying to tell me I can kill somebody and go home and just sit at home and you're still gonna pay me? It's like, to me, that makes no sense. Second, that's like a fraternity. They're a group of brothers, and I respect that from that standpoint. But it's not like they're 9 times out of 10 they're going to cover that shit up for their brother. That's their brother. That's they go to war every day with their brother. So, if there's a way to loophole that situation, they will. And you make a great point, and I think that's why I'm in the process right now, because it was kind of crazy how everything kind of fell on me. Once I started asking questions about the family, I've been getting calls from current players, former players, people in Sacramento, CNN, other news outlets, to like, what is Sacramento going to do? So I'm in the process of actually putting a peaceful march together on Saturday. I spoke to the family. The funeral's on Thursday, and they also wanted to do something else to make sure that this doesn't just slip underneath the rug. So I'm in the process. I got a friend of mine who's put march together in Washington, D.C. She's helped me put this rally together. I got Vivek and the Kings on board, tons of former players, current Kings. I think the Warriors will be in town that day, so hopefully we get a couple Warriors out. And like you said, to make change, You could say whatever you want, you could do whatever you want, but until you disrupt something, that's the only time change comes. So, we're deciding where the march will take place, either to the state capitol, to the courthouses, or to the police station. But
you want to make change?
This is something.
You march down to his house.
That's a good
idea.
The
person who did it. You make him feel uncomfortable. You make his neighbors feel uncomfortable. You make them weed him out.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That's some shit I would do, and I think like sometimes but then at the same time, there's some people that might, we go to this man's house, he might not be able to come out ever.
But see, that's the point. See, the point of a march, right? And you never attack the person who actually has done wrong. So this guy shoots someone. We ignore him. We go after the police station. We go after the city and this, and he's just free reign doing nothing. There's no pressure on him. So you march down in front of where this guy lives, a peaceful march. He doesn't want to come outside. His neighbors feel threatened. Now the neighborhood where he lives is, in his mind, unsafe. Now the neighbors don't want him around. Now, it's a whole thing. There's no violence, but to make him feel uncomfortable where he can't sleep is how you make change, because no other officer would like something like that.
It was funny because DeMarcus and I kind of held a town hall last year while we played for the Kings to bridge the gap with law enforcement and local teenagers. And a former officer said the one thing that gets 9 out of 10 cops off is all they have to do is say they fear for their life, which is which is bullshit. You know what I mean? This guy could say he feared for his life because he thought something was something. You know, so obviously, but to me, I mean, gun, no gun, whatever. I mean, there's ways to handle things. I mean, I think to shoot someone 20 times is like, you know, that's over. That's war. That's overkill. I mean, you can shoot someone in the leg, shoot someone in the arm, shoot someone 3 or 4 times. You shot someone 20 times.
And the whole fear for my life, there seems like a big contradiction to what they stand for and what they're, you know, they have, no retreat policy, right?
Right.
If you have a stand your ground policy, how can you use fear for your life to shoot someone? Like you've been trained in combat. you know how to, obviously you know how to kill, you know how to fight, you know how to disarm.
They kill well. They might not know how to do all the other shit.
But I'm saying, but they're trained to do it. They're trained for combat. The average person they're killing have no training for nothing. You know, so to say you fear for your life on a regular civilian seems a contradiction of what police stand for.
It's just escape. It's an easy escape.
I know, but it's an excuse that shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be allowed. Like you're trained. You're trained for people to come at you, so you can't fear for your life. How did you actually make it this far? If you're fearful, like, don't they get pepper sprayed and all this dumb shit that go through all these trainings? Like, and you want to say you fear for your life? That is, you should be socked in the mouth.
How are people killing dogs and going to prison, or a dog that, you know, gets left in a fucking airplane, you know, cabinet up top gets more headlines, and people are more furious about this cop killing an unarmed young black man? You know, it just says something about where society is today. I mean, and I really think it starts with us, too, from the standpoint of we're killing each other. So if we don't put any value on our life, why the fuck is anyone else going to care about our life? So I think that's the key right there, is starting, you know, the black on black crime, because cops are killing us, but at a higher rate, we're killing each other daily. So that's why we're also in the process, because like I said, the street politics in Sacramento are really hot with some of the rappers. You know, some people have moved. A lot of people have moved. Some people I spoke to said they don't even come outside. So we're also trying to use this platform to let the younger generation know, man, if we can get some of these rappers to squash this beef, because at the end of the day, it's more us killing us than them killing us. And even though they're paid to protect and serve, we got to start taking appreciation for our own lives for anyone else to respect us as well.
Very true. Matt, kudos for everything you're doing, man. We definitely salute your progress and what you're doing and bringing awareness to the situation, and anything you need from our end, we're willing to do, man. So, again, salute from everybody here on Out of Bounds.
Hey, quick question. Who the fuck raps in Sacramento?
No, they got
rappers in Sacramento?
That's Mozzie's from out there.
Oh, okay. I'm like, who the fuck is rapping in Sacramento?
There's some rappers out there. Hey, you still shit on the boys like that?
Matt, leave it to Gilbert to ask the hard-hitting question.
Like, I'm over here.
Leave it to Gilbert.
Like, rappers going to war. I'm like, who the fuck is coming from?
It's real hot. It's real hot out there. Right? Like, a lot of people have died, you know, between these few rappers that have beef. So Sacramento's real hot right now. So that was one of the wishes from the family, was to, you know, realizing that, hey, if we can get, you know, I don't want to put these people's names on blast right now, but if we can get so-and-so and so-and-so to shake hands at this march, we think it'll set the tone for the youth, because the youth in Sacramento are running wild right now. It's like the wild. It's like
they're doing that picking sides thing.
Yeah, when Oakland was hot, when Oakland was, you know, the murder capital, you know, when LA was doing this thing, that's what Sacramento's on right now, and it's crazy. So, you know, I'm trying to do my best to obviously bring light to this cop situation, and also, you know, hopefully start some peace shit out there as well. So I'll keep you guys posted, man. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Switching gears to baseball, the A's say they're going to charge rival Giants fans more to go see games in Oakland. Time for Fair or Foul. All right, so on Saturday, A's president Dave Cavallo announced that San Francisco Giants fans who wants to go see games over across the bay in Oakland are going to be subject to a specific fee, and that being they're going to be charged a rivalry fee of $20 extra to go park and basically tailgate or do whatever the hell you want to do in the parking lot of the Oakland Coliseum. It's unclear if this is actually enforceable. Now, there were, reporters out there asking the attendants who, collected the fees if they actually did this, and kind of, different answers, yes or no. But for the most part, it kind of seems like it's a bullshit thing that the A's are trying to do. So we call them fair or foul on the A's trying to charge Giants fans more to go see the games.
I think that's fair.
Yeah?
That is hilarious. Like, I'm surprised that's just starting. Like, if you want to neutralize the opponent, that's the best way to do it. Overcharge their asses for everything. Parking, give them bad seats. Like, I mean, teams do it. I mean, there's locker rooms where I heard back in college, like, locker rooms are all pink. Make them,
in Iowa.
Make them feel feminine. Like, that's what you do to an opponent. Like, you really, like, especially if it's your rival, you make them feel less than human.
Yeah. Supposedly, Giants fans, if they go up to the gate when they're paying for their extra parking, if they say "Go A's," they can get out of the fee. But again, it's not really enforceable.
But that's the problem. You're forcing diehard fans of a team to to go against their grain. Yeah. That's all it really is. Like, so if you don't want to pay the extra $20, what are you gonna do?
Well,
you're gonna take the jersey off before you go to the line.
Or you can just take public transportation and avoid this nonsense.
But I'm just saying, but that's what they're going to do. That's what they're forcing them to do. Take off the uniform. Disown your team if you don't want to pay the $20.
I'm calling it completely fair because it's genius on 3 separate levels. One, if they're San Francisco Giants fans coming from San Francisco, we know how that area is booming, how many people with large incomes are out there. Hey, we're going to charge you $20 extra a park. I'm with that. Second, if they're a diehard fan, make them cheer for the other team.
Yeah, that's
you
what
want to
say.
wait $20, whatever. Yeah. And then also, if this is illegal or somehow is frowned upon by the MLB or whoever, great marketing. So I'm with it. I'm with it 100%. So
I
this
hope
is
they
great.
don't get in trouble for it because that is just amazing. That is, I just think it's amazing because when they go to the Giants, I'm pretty sure they're going to charge them an arm and a leg.
Yeah, I'm gonna call fair on this. It's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing the A's are doing, but it's obviously drumming up interest on a team that's going to be shit again in a shitty Coliseum, a shitty area to go watch a game. So yes, props to the A's for coming up with this little scam right here.
Scam.
I mean, it basically is though. I mean, you're trying to charge Giants fans who are idiots $20 extra by telling the parking attendants.
So
say you're gonna pay $50 if you don't say "Go A's."
So if that's
$50, go A's.
If that's a scam, what do you call the Jets then? Over the past couple of years,
Jets are a farce of a franchise.
They got to pay to go watch that. What do you call that?
I used to pay thousands of dollars for those awful season tickets. So I got scammed big time, yes.
I'm sorry I brought up an old wound. I apologize.
That ain't no old wound. He's still a Jets fan.
I know, I'm still a Jets fan, but we all make mistakes.
He's still a Jets fan.
Cap, what's the funnest or strangest thing that you've seen a team do to like egg on an opposing fan base? Have y'all seen it all? Have y'all heard it over the years?
I mean, this is one of them.
This is.
I mean, like this, a fan base? Yeah, I'm trying to think of what kind of.
Sacramento.
What they do?
Usually when the Warriors came to town, back when they did dollar beer night.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, that's a recipe for disaster.
But that was the point. Dollar beer night, and you already know what's going to happen. As soon as you see Golden State jerseys in the stands, the beers is coming, the fights are starting. That's what that arena was about.
I know the Mets, for Yankees fans that want to go see games over in Citi Field, I know the Mets generally make you buy a ticket package if you want to get Yankees tickets. So Yankees fans want to go see the Yankees play in Citi Field, they also have to buy shittier Mets games. Wow. So that's kind of like a swerve that some teams do.
You mentioned Sacramento, they kind of take things to a criminal level. I think you had during the 2002 Western Conference Finals when they were playing the Lakers, somebody messed with Kobe's room service and he got food poisoning.
Oh, no. That's just normal. That's a normal thing. I got food poisoning with our first round. It was a 2004-05 when we played Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Me and Larry got food poisoning.
What y'all order?
Chicken nuggets.
Well, that's why. You grown man order chicken nuggets.
We wasn't grown men then.
From the hotel?
Yes. How do you get food poisoning on chicken fucking nuggets?
Did you order chicken nuggets?
You don't. So we were told do not order room service because obviously this staff is Chicago Bull fans. So we had to send someone out to order to get us food.
How many all the years you stayed in the hotel, how many fire alarms were pulled?
Ooh, not many.
No?
No.
Not even when y'all had the strippers in Dallas?
Not even playoff time?
No, I just thought about it. Not many.
Huh. You lucked out then.
Well, you just gave somebody an idea.
I know,
No, that happens all the time, though.
I mean, if a city was going to do that, Cleveland.
Boy, they hate you in Cleveland.
I know, no, because you got to remember that was a rival. We played them 3 years straight, so in their they were ruthless.
There's also nothing else to do in Cleveland.
Okay, all right. Listen, Cleveland, I might visit y'all one day.
They were ruthless. There's only one hotel you got to stay in. That's the Ritz.
Yeah.
The Ritz next to the mall.
They know exactly where you are.
So the Wizards weren't going to put y'all in like the Ramada Inn or nothing like that? Always the Ritz, huh? I'm with it. As far as power rankings of cities that can't stand you right now, it's like Boston, Cleveland.
They can't stand me?
San Antonio. Yeah, because you slander them on the show all the time. It's like Boston, Cleveland, San Antonio.
No.
What?
Who hates me the most?
Well, we know the individual, but
how
about the city?
Man, look, I was a god, man. You know what I mean? I didn't have no enemies out there, man. I was just, I was a shit talker who talked shit to the fans, who gave my jersey out. I was loved.
You bought drinks for your hecklers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I was loved. I wasn't a hated guy.
Listen, that wraps things up for the latest edition of Out of Bounds. We have the humanitarian Mr. Gilbert Arenas right here, and Adam Caparell. I'm Pierce Simpson. Good to see you tomorrow.
Did we just give you a new nickname?
Yo.
Fuck Hibachi, you're now the humanitarian?
Exactly, the humanitarian. Ooh, that's kind of good. The humanitarian.
Oh man, I used
Gilbert.
to be that guys talking shit and your girlfriend's ugly. Like, she's actually not cute. He turns around, high five it. Oh, you're actually cute.
That's like LeBron in Portland, where they was like, LeBron, where's Kyrie? He was like, at your mama's house. As he was inbounding the ball, I was like, yo.
And then to the fans,
I'm all for that.
and to the fans, oh my God, he talked to me.
Yeah.
Yes. You heard what LeBron said? I guarantee the kid has a clip of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The NBA is fantastic.
Fantastic.